I'm Sam Way, and this is your UWW-TV Sports Update. The UW Whitewater football team traveled to Platteville, Wisconsin over the weekend to take on the Pioneers in the George Christ Memorial Bowl, losing 10-17, with the Pioneers claiming possession of the Miners' Axe for the fourth time in the 29-game bowl series. With a scoreless first quarter, the Warhawks scored early in the second. The Warhawks held the lead until the fourth, where the team ultimately fell to the Pioneers.
I think our defense played one of the best games they've played all year. Platteville averaged over 36 points a game, and we held them to 17. They threw the ball 44 times, and almost half of those were all vertical shots, and ended up connecting on 3 of them, which we got to be better at. Did a great job tackling in the open field, which was a point of emphasis, and I think the defensive physicality was as good as it's been all year.
Looking around the WEAC conference, UW Stout beat UW Eau Claire 42-24. UW La Crosse took a close win against UW River Falls 28-24. And lastly, UW Oshkosh took care of business against UW Stevens Point 42-7. The Warhawks' last home game of the regular season will be this Saturday, November 2nd, for homecoming against UW River Falls. Kickoff is set for 1 o'clock with UWW-TV going live 30 minutes prior with Warhawk Sports Saturday. We'll be right back with more sports on UWW-TV right after this.
Have you heard of UROC?
We're part of Whitewater and our own thing.
Come on, we'll show you.
I learned how to be a college student here, and now I'm headed off to Madison to study global health, and I know I'm ready.
People like me who aren't a fan of big crowds would really like UROC because it's welcoming and it's laid back.
My advisor helped me figure out my schedule, organize my time, fill out my FAFSA, and figure out what classes I liked and how to turn that into a major. And if I had to do it again, I would choose UROC.
You ready to rock?
You belong here.
The UW Whitewater volleyball team went 2-0 last week after sweeping McAllister College and UW River Falls on the road. The Warhawks return home for their final home game of the regular season Wednesday, October 30th to take on UW Platteville at 7 o'clock for senior night. UWW-TV will go live 10 minutes prior to the match with pregame coverage. Men's soccer traveled to Platteville last week where they lost 0-1 to the Pioneers in the Seamus Gwynn Cup. The men return home this week to take on UW Eau Claire Wednesday, October 30th at 7 o'clock and UW Stout Saturday, November 2nd at 4 o'clock. Women's soccer tied 0-0 last Wednesday, October 23rd at home against UW Platteville before defeating UW Stout 2-0 on the road Saturday, October 26th. The women return home Monday, October 28th to take on Illinois Tech at 7 o'clock before heading to River Falls Saturday, November 2nd to take on the Falcons. The men and women's WEAC soccer tournament begins next week, with the women's tournament set to begin for Tuesday, November 5th, and the men's for Wednesday, November 6th. Congratulations to the women's tennis team for winning their 18th consecutive WEAC Women's Tennis Championship over the weekend in Madison. The win concludes the fall season for the women as they return to action Sunday, March 2nd to kick off their spring season against UW-Milwaukee. The men and women's cross-country teams took home first and second place respectively last week in the Warhawk Open. Both teams now head to Stevens Point Saturday, November 2nd to compete in the 2024 WEAC Cross-Country Championships. The women will begin at noon, followed by the men at 1 o'clock. And finally, the women's bowling team finished first out of 7 teams at the Valpo Bowling Classic over the weekend in Dyer, Indiana. Bowling hits the pins again from Friday, November 8th to Sunday, November 10th for the SFA Lady Jack Classic in Kenosha, Wisconsin. For more sports news and other updates, tune into UWWTV.org. I'm Sam Way, and this has been your sports update on UWW-TV.